What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful 24 official channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button today. Let's get started. Confession from Hope's broken heart and advice from Daddy Deacon. According to the Bold and the Beautiful, Hope Logan will confess her broken heart, so Daddy Deacon Sharp will offer some guidance. Despite Hope's attempt to reject Liam Spencer's reunion plea, he wouldn't take no for an answer. Hope drew Liam's attention to the fact that she was engaged to Carter Walton, but Liam persuaded her to tell him what she really wanted. Hope was undoubtedly swept up in Liam's kiss as well. It's clear that Hope still has a lot of love left for Liam, so she'll struggle with her emotions when she opens up to Deacon in Wednesday's B&B episode. When Hope has something on her mind, Deacon is always willing to listen. Hope may be upset and in need of someone to talk to as soon as Deacon sees her. Hope will update Deacon on Liam's reunion proposal and how much he wants to reunite their family because she will eventually confide in her father. For Beth Spencer's sake and Hope's own, maybe Hope will admit that she also wants that. In addition, reuniting with Liam would bring with it a lot of waffling baggage, particularly in regard to their Steffi Forrester love triangle. Hope might be wary of returning to that path with Liam and breaking her heart once more. It could endanger Hope's friendship with Liam as well as the pattern they've established for co-parenting. Obviously, Hope won't want to hurt Carter's feelings because she has also committed to him. Hope will tell Deacon all the latest information because this will be such a mess and wonder what he thinks. Hope might hear Deacon say that Liam wasn't the only one who hurt her. Along with Daphne Rose, Carter betrayed Hope and let her down throughout the Forrester takeover drama. Deacon might end up being Team Liam, especially considering how much it would mean to Beth if her parents got back together. Deacon, on the other hand, will probably point out that Hope must make her own decision in this situation. Hope will remain conflicted for the time being, but only she can decide what the future holds. Will Spencer might continue to ponder the enigmatic texts he has been receiving. Will become even more determined to discover who his secret admirer is because Luna Nozawa will continue to send messages from an unknown number. In the upcoming episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful, Sheila Sharp will be surprised when Will asks her for help with a memory puzzle, so stay tuned. Hope tells Deacon everything. Will Deacon have some advice for Hope on The Bold and the Beautiful? The Bold and the Beautiful must-watch moments for Wednesday, August 27th. See Hope breaking down and telling Deacon everything about what she's been dealing with between Carter and Liam. As past actions have an impact on the lives of your favorite people, shocking developments are on the horizon. Los Angeles residents may soon face the consequences. Don't miss a single moment on CBS and Paramount+. What happened previously is as follows. Hope's, Annika Noel, life has been chaotic recently. He had a moment of conscience and gave the company back after she and Carter, Lawrence St. Victor, stole Forrester. Hope went out with him and the Forresters for a while. Grace, on the other hand, made up Liam's brain cancer, and for a while, Liam thought he was going to die soon. Everything paused while Liam's loved ones, including Hope, rallied around him to help him live out the rest of his days. Naturally, Liam will not die now, leaving him and Hope to deal with their connection. Given that Hope's ex-husband was said to have only a few weeks left to live, Carter was fine with Liam and Hope's growing closeness. Before Hope learned of Liam's diagnosis, they got engaged. Even if it means eloping, Carter wants to get married as soon as possible. Of course, Liam also wants to reunite his family, which includes Hope. Hope Logan had never experienced her world feeling so unstable, and The Bold and the Beautiful illustrated that her heart was being tugged in countless directions simultaneously. Thus, when she found herself seated in the dimly lit back corner of Il Giardino, her father Deacon Sharp casually wiping down a glass with a nonchalant ease that stemmed from years of concealing chaos with charm, she understood that it was finally time to release the barriers she had been holding on to and reveal the turmoil that was tearing her apart internally. Despite how many times she had reassured herself that she was strong enough to bear the burden of Carter Walton's ring on her finger and the memories of Liam Spencer's lips on hers, the truth was that she could not quiet her heart, no matter how hard she attempted. Her heart continued to cry out Liam's name, even as she endeavored to appreciate the man who had supported her in recent months, who had promised her stability, and who had offered her a vision of a future devoid of the relentless push and pull of Liam's indecision and Steffi Forrester's influence. Yet, when Liam gazed at her with those sincere blue eyes and implored her to acknowledge her true desires, she found herself powerless against the tide of memories, powerless against the deluge of kisses, and powerless against the resonance of the family they had created together with Beth. In that moment, she recognized that she was living a dual reality, one in which she wore Carter's ring and acquiesced to the assurances of a different kind of love, And there was another aspect in which she secretly continued to long for the man who had shattered her heart more times than she could remember, yet who also made her feel at home. This duplicity was precisely the reason she found herself sitting across from Deacon, her fingers anxiously twisting the condensation from a glass of water. Her voice trembled as she confessed that Liam had kissed her, that she had reciprocated the kiss, and that although she had told him no, her heart had whispered yes. As she allowed the confession to pour out, she experienced a mix of relief and terror, knowing that Deacon would not judge her. He had never judged her. He was the one person capable of listening without transforming her pain into ammunition. However, she also feared that he might urge her toward Liam in a manner that would unravel everything she had endeavored to establish with Carter. Thus, when she gazed into her father's face, seeking an anchor, she found not condemnation but a quiet understanding. This was almost more distressing because it indicated he comprehended the madness of love and the futility of attempting to reason with a heart that already knew its desires. Deacon leaned in, his voice gentle yet resolute, advising her to cease fleeing from her truth. He reminded her that while Carter might appear to be the safe choice, safety did not always equate to happiness. He also reminded her that Liam was not the only one who had disappointed her, as Carter himself had contributed to betraying her trust during the tumultuous Forrester takeover. If she were truly honest with herself, she would recognize that she still had not forgiven him for standing by Daphne Rose or for keeping secrets when she needed him the most. Therefore, perhaps her engagement was not as unshakable as she had led herself to believe, and maybe just maybe her broken heart was guiding her back to Liam, not out of weakness, but because love is seldom linear and rarely tidy. At times, it arrived enveloped in both pain and resilience. Hope listened intently, tears brimming in her eyes, as Deacon reminded her that Beth deserved to be raised in a home where her parents not only coexisted but also openly loved one another. Children can perceive when love is fractured, and perhaps the reason Liam's kiss still lingered on her lips was that her heart remained unfinished, still yearning for completion. However, he was careful to emphasize that the decision must be hers alone, neither Liam's, nor Carter's, nor Ridge's, nor Brooks, nor anyone else's. It had to be her choice, for if she returned to Liam's embrace, it must be for her own reasons, not out of fear of losing him to Steffi once more. Similarly, if she chose to remain with Carter, it should be because she genuinely desired the stability he offered, not as a means to prove to herself that she could endure without Liam. Those words resonated within her, echoing like a distant bell tolling, for even as she attempted to ground herself in logic, she could not dismiss the haunting image of Liam's tear-streaked face as he pleaded with her to marry him again, a vision etched into her very soul. Deacon's counsel only clarified that she could not continue living with a half-hearted commitment. She needed to determine which man held the other half of her heart. Meanwhile, across Los Angeles, Will Spencer found himself gazing at his phone, the glow of an unfamiliar number teasing him with another message that read, "Last night was unforgettable." Although his heart raced and a part of him longed to confide in Electra Forrester about his confusion and the mistaken identity encounter that had ensnared him in this difficult situation, he could not bring himself to betray her trust, especially not when she had just suggested that tonight was meant to be their special evening, and her eyes sparkled with sincerity, revealing her love for him. The guilt consumed him entirely, to the extent that when Katie Logan found him lost in thought at Forrester Creations, she encouraged him to share his feelings, urging him to confess. However, all he could do was acknowledge his inner turmoil without disclosing Luna's involvement, which only deepened his sense of entrapment. Meanwhile, Luna, laughing in the shadows of Lee Finnegan's residence, was excitedly recounting the incredible night she thought she had with Will, dismissing Sheila Carter Sharp's urgent warnings about the risks of her plan. She intensified her efforts by sending additional anonymous messages as his secret admirer, resolutely intent on binding him to her illusion. The unfolding drama extended outward, linking Hope's heartfelt revelation to her father with Will's frantic attempts to extricate himself from his own tangled web. Both narratives contributed to the overarching theme of shattered hearts in search of understanding. As Hope wiped her tears, listening to her father affirm that she was stronger than she realized, she understood that when she awoke the next day, she would still be conflicted and uncertain. Yet, she would at least be aware that someone had faith in her ability to shape her own future. The Bold and the Beautiful hinted that in the forthcoming episodes, her choice would trigger a series of events capable of dismantling engagements, reuniting families, and fracturing alliances in ways that no one in Los Angeles was prepared to confront. This was because love, betrayal, and broken hearts invariably bore repercussions that resonated long after the truths were revealed.